Donald Trump has officially been sworn in as the 47th president of the United States, and as the new Trump administration begins, so does his ambitious agenda. Here to discuss his top priorities is Chris Krueger, managing director at TD Cowen Washington Research Group. Chris, I know you're busy. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us. We all kind of smile when we say it's been busy. There's busy, and then there's this. Let's just start with the big one for Canada. Every Canadian has been glued to pretty much everything the president has been saying about tariffs. What's your take on what's been said so far?
Well, unfortunately, I think the eyeballs will continue to be glued because we really don't have policy certainty. That's somewhat by design. President Trump enjoys being a policy paradox. It's sort of this chaos premium that really injects him into the middle of the conversation. He said two things. The first, in those executive orders that came out the night of the inauguration, essentially punted all tariff decisions to a broad-based report from Commerce, Treasury, and the trade rep due on April 1st. Then that evening was the ad hoc press comments that suggested a 25% tariff could hit both Canada and Mexico on February 1st. Even if he wanted to, he could do that. That time frame is incredibly aggressive. The interesting nuance, such as it is that Trump isn't talking about trade issues with that 25% tariff. This is still over border security and immigration. So we're still very much in the first innings. April 1st is probably the first time frame where we could have a bit of clarity.
And despite that, I mean, you're right. I mean, he's purposely obfuscating to kind of help the negotiation as they move forward. But, we did hear that there's going to be an external revenue service department set up, which tells you the structure is being put in place for some of those.
For sure. I mean, the tariffs are not a question of if, but when. These are coming. The bilateral goods deficit remains sort of the scorecard for President Trump and his team. That team, though, hasn't yet been put in place. We're still, we're only really scratching the surface with Rubio and some others being confirmed. So again, April 1 is probably when the trade discussions really begin in earnest. But then you have, July of next year with USMCA. So this is a conversation that is probably going to be going on through next summer.
I got about 4 minutes here, Chris, and I know you've bucketed, I'd say, the hundreds of executive orders that have come out into three main ones: energy, government reform, and border and immigration. Going to start with energy. That matters a lot to Canada as well, too. What are you seeing?
Yeah, sort of all of the above. This is one area where Trump has been pretty clear, also setting up a national energy council headed by the former North Dakota governor, one of your neighbors. So energy really sort of across the board, pulling out from the Paris climate talks, but really looking to focus on oil and gas, on fossils, and really an across-the-board approach for Trump and his cabinet.
And in terms of government reform,
this is a bit different with Trump just because of the personalities surrounding the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, with Elon Musk. But candidly, every president has some version of this, looking to sort of make government more efficient, make government run like a business. We'll see how that proceeds. A number of the executive actions did deal with the federal bureaucracy, with trying to streamline government. A lot of these decisions, though, in terms of cutting budgets and otherwise, those will have to go before the Congress. And whether or not you believe President Trump won a mandate, he believes he has a mandate. The Republicans do not have a mandate in the Congress, the Senate 53-47, and the House soon to be a 0-seat margin.
Finally, border and immigration, where there is more freedom to do more there.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably, I think if you asked President Trump this, he would say this was the single most galvanizing issue in the campaign, arguably his signature issue along with trade. A border emergency declared at the southern border that frees up some Pentagon dollars to continue building the border wall. We will see those deportation efforts already underway. Broad, a lot of it will be litigated in the courts. But this is something where I think we would expect to take President Trump both literally and seriously on his deportation efforts.
Chris, last question for you, just about 30 seconds. What do you think are going to be the sticking points that are not going to allow the Trump agenda to move through? You mentioned obviously Congress, so that's a big one, but what else is out there?
Well, we'll see what the courts decide on some of the more controversial border pledges. Really, it is going to come down to Congress. You have a $5 trillion tax cliff in the U.S. at the end of this year with the expiration of those 2017 cuts, and a lot of big programs with both the immigration plans as well as defense spend. We also have the debt ceiling sometime this summer. So I think that's partially why you saw President Trump being so aggressive on Monday night with executive actions, because the Congress, it's probably going to be a narrative of hurry up and wait.